record it.
I'm just sad I don't have a burp to start it off with this time, man. That belch from last time was fucking tasty. Anyway, I said that really loud. Came in hot. What's up, everyone? We're back with another episode of White Noise. My name is Zach. I'm here with the brothers Analog Rick and the slightly upgraded Electronic Rick, or Eric, if you want to call him for shorthand. We've developed one hell of an episode here today for you. Lots to get through, lots to talk about, lots of insanity, but we're going to give you some good news today, too. We're not going to start off with good news, though, today, unfortunately. We have the late breaking news. The late breaking news being that it's Liberation Day. So grab a beer and go to a strip club and grab a buffet. I don't know, whatever you prefer to do to celebrate. Shoot a gun straight up in the air with complete disregard for human lives. It doesn't matter anymore. We've been liberated. Liberated from what? Liberated from being in a trade war with the entire planet. We're here, and I'm sure you guys also have a fun take on this, but Donald Trump today, as we're recording this on April 2nd, announced tariffs. Tariffs much higher than anyone kind of suspected. He alluded to some of these tariffs, but I don't think anyone took him seriously. So what we're looking at now, we're looking at a baseline 10% tariff on almost everyone and almost every product coming into the United States from foreign countries. I think there's 60 or so countries involved in that one. We're still getting the 25% on Mexico and Canada and imported automobiles, which is one that he has been talking about quite a bit. And as a result of this, even though it was pretty close to the stock market closing, the stocks closed a little bit higher, but all of the futures markets slid a little bit. So we're going to have to wait and see what Friday morning brings. Boys, how do you feel on Liberation Day? Have you all cracked a beer and pulled your pants down and helicoptered your wiener into the neighbor's yard, or what?
I don't have neighbors. I helicoptered into the cornfield.
Close enough. I'll give you a pass.
No, man, this is it's still fucked. It's just as fucked as it was the last time we talked about it. I can't think of a good reason why this is anyone thinks this is a good idea. Eric?
Yeah. Do you have a nuanced take, Eric? Because fuck, I don't know if any of us are gonna. I don't know what to say anymore. That's my problem. I can't even justify any of this in my head.
No, go ahead, Eric. Try and be the devil's advocate.
Devil's advocate. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's a literal sense right now. I was thinking about this. Like, Trump has always toted the idea of, hey, we need to go back, right? We need to make America great again and things like that. Well, first of all, going back to whatever age he's talking about, whatever decade, whatever era, I'm assuming he means the 60s, right? Post World War II, when we were rich as a country and things like that. But if we look back at the times when tariffs were a thought or an idea, they didn't work. They never worked. And that's been established by past presidents, by studies and things like that have been done in America. And that's not saying anything we haven't talked about already. But I also want to think, like, he's always saying that this country's poor. We're in bad shape. It's always in bad shape, and he runs on that as a campaign. And he never has anything good to say except when it's about him or his administration, right? I just want to say, like, this is just basically a fuck you to everybody else that's basically either an ally or not an ally, I guess, for that matter. But it's like, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you trying to do? What's your end game here? What do you think that this is going to do for America? Like, you want to make it great, but you know that historically this hasn't done anything positive for the country. So why are we doing this? You're only going to piss people off. And by people, I mean Americans and allies. And also, it's not going to work. So where are we going? What are we doing? Do you want to start a war? You said you weren't going to start wars, but it seems like that's the direction we're going here.
It's a fundamental misunderstanding by Trump of how this shit works. I mean, look, I assume what goes on in his head is he goes, look, I'll put a tariff on imported vehicles, and all of a sudden, Ford, Chevrolet, Dodge, all these, Chrysler, whatever that is now, I can't remember. What Chrysler's overwhelming. Yeah, Stellantis. There it is. Thank you. They're all going to just pack their shit up in Mexico and shoot it up here in the next 2 weeks. But what they don't realize is like it takes a long time to build a factory and do all of these things and get all of this stuff ready to produce things in America. It's not always feasible. He also doesn't understand the fact that, look, as much as I hate to say it, or as much as I hate to like talk about it, the reason your Nikes are so fucking cheap is because they're made in a goddamn sweatshop. Now, I try to avoid buying certain things that I know are made in countries with human rights or history of human rights abuses. But at the same time, Formula One races in a lot of those countries, and I'm going to watch the race. Right? I mean, you have to pick and choose your battles here. And this is one when you're a consumer, we probably all, no matter how hard we try, buy shit from these countries that treat people like garbage because it's cheaper. And if that product is moved into America and produced in America, it is going to be significantly more expensive. I think I brought up the example actually maybe a few episodes ago of gym equipment, where because of a whatever whatever the tariff on steel was, if it was 10 or 25, I forget. Because of that tariff on steel, this company who made their shit overseas still had to increase their price on top of that 10%, right? They increased the price by like $50 on like an individual product as an example. So we're not saying that, you know, you're going to get a 10% increase in price across the board. It might be significantly more because there are certain things that are shipped back and forth. There's supply chain things where we're shipping a lot of steel over from other countries. You know, we ship a lot of things in to create, again, the chips, right? Everyone wants to make goddamn microprocessors here and shit. And all of that chip stuff comes from overseas, or a lot of it comes from overseas. So that's going to make it very expensive, even if you build the stuff to make it here, to get the raw materials to make it is still going to be unreasonably expensive. So it doesn't matter if Nvidia wants to make their shit here. It's still going to cost a ton more because of the supply. And I don't think that Trump realizes that. I think he just sees dollar signs. Like, they have to pay us more. And that's all he sees. You know, he doesn't see the precipitous effect of that onto the consumer.
How many times has the question been asked, like, do you know what a tariff is? Do you know the impact of a tariff, like to the president or to that Caroline lady, right? And then I feel like I've never heard an answer from them, or they say an answer that isn't accurate. You know what I mean? Like I wanna, I just want like the real answer from them. And then when this inevitably doesn't work, what's going to be their story? What's going to be the follow up commentary that happens from them when this doesn't work? Are they going to blame Bidesky again? Are they going to, what's going to be their sidestep? So
Obama.
yeah,
They already
They're gonna
set it up with the whole there's going to be a short-term pain thing. They said that's going to be their thing. Oh, just wait. It's you know, just give me a minute. It'll work. It'll work. It's like that guy. He's like he's got performance anxiety. You know, like for anyone in Minneapolis who went to the Target Center when the bathrooms used to be a big ass trough. It's like walking up to one of those and you get a little performance anxiety about like the fact that you're not pissing and you've been standing there for what seems like an age, and
just
you're just
holding
like,
your
oh, like
dick around a bunch of guys.
yeah, exactly. Where's is everyone looking at the fact that there's no piss? It's going to be like that. Just hang out. It's going to be like that with tariffs. Like wait, it's coming, but then like they're actually just going to piss on you because that's what the rich do. So you're not going to get money. Is not going to trickle down. It's just going to be piss.
I don't know. I feel like I've said this before, but one of two things is going on here. Either Trump is incredibly stupid and has had tariffs explained to him several times and he still doesn't understand, or he's a fucking Russian asset and he's doing this to crater the U.S., the U.S. standing in the world. One of those two things is happening, or it's both. He's stupid and he's a Russian puppet. They're not mutually exclusive. Those are the only two reasons why I could see this as happening. Nothing else makes sense.
Well, I definitely think he's doing something and he doesn't understand it. But there's also the discussion that we could have, I guess, about who's actually running the fucking show. I mean, we've talked about it where like he's kind of just a pen, and it really feels like, you know, I mean, he did a bunch of interviews in the last week or two where, you know, what's your opinion on this, that, or the other thing? He's asked, and he just goes, "Oh, I haven't heard about that. I don't know. I haven't been
Yeah,
briefed on that." So he
yeah,
doesn't know what's going on. He wasn't involved in the Signal group chat. He doesn't even know what the fuck Signal is,
yeah,
right? I mean, he's not involved in all of these things when he probably should be. And notice in the Signal
right.
chat, nobody ever said president wants this. Everyone was just like, "Yeah, I don't know, fuck it, do it, just go. He'll like it." So is this the
E-
same thing?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, that should be embarrassing for the office of the White House that the president doesn't know what's going on. So if you don't know what's going on with this, like this fucking bombing or how it was handled or how it was talked about, and you weren't in the fucking loop, you weren't in the chat, like that should be embarrassing for you. And also, I think JD Vance said something in the chat where he was actually like thinking Trump didn't understand the situation or something. I don't. He was like voicing his concerns about
Yeah.
not just going along with him. I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah,
Yeah, it's not a good look, man. I mean, for Trump to sit up there and I mean, you can find clips of him talking, or there's like super cuts of him talking about like nobody knows about this more than me. Nobody knows about that more than me. And he says it for every goddamn subject under the sun.
yep.
But all of a sudden this term, every time he's approached with about X, Y, or Z event, he just goes, "No, I don't know. Like I don't know." It's like, okay, so now all of a sudden you like fucking don't know anything. Like you just are completely fucking unaware of you're supposed to be the guy who knows fucking everything going on in the country and handling it, and you've just completely fucked off mentally.
Yeah.
Like
What
this is
is
the
it you
senior
say you
skid
do
version
here?
of a president. Yeah, what is it you say you do here? I don't think he's doing much, man. I really don't. So I don't know. I mean, these tariffs. I think we're done. I get the vibe we're done playing tariff chicken as well. Um, so I think we're actually, we the stock market has started to kind of recover from the skid, that initial skid when he announced the tariffs, 2 months ago now or whatever. It started to recover from that. I feel like if it turns around again, it's not gonna try to recover anymore. These tariffs are coming. I would be very confident in saying that like these tariffs are going to exist, and we're going to start experiencing them. Uh, you know, Soon we'll see prices go up, and it's gonna not be great for a lot of fucking people. I mean, even in my house, like we can't take a huge increase in prices on everything. So putting a tariff on everything, like an
Right.
increase in price on a few things was going to be a little bit of a stretch. But now we're talking about potentially anything that you buy and bring into your house. So
Right.
I don't know,
Yeah, I
man.
guess, Brittany and I are basically planning on we're not buying anything except like food right now. Like
It's
we're
kind of the
not
way.
yeah, we're not planning on any big purchases or nothing. Like we could probably use a new stove, but we're just going to ride it out with this one and just save some money up, and if we need to buy one, then we'll buy one when it comes, but I'm not buying shit right now. Like, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be either forced to that or see the writing on the wall, and we'll just start doing that because you don't know what the fuck he's going to do next.
I mean, I can't imagine. I'm happy that we don't need anything right now. Like my wife and I don't need anything right now, and we're very fortunate for that. But I mean, well, I mean, to be fair, I guess we're looking at needing a whole new, furnace and like AC system. Man, I didn't even get a quote for that shit. I just like I was talking to the guy and kind of checked it out, like or like kind of thought about it for a little bit, and I texted him back. I'm like, you know what? There's no fucking way, man. Like, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want to. It's that I cannot risk I can't risk spending this money right now at all. You kind
Right.
of need to hoard your money just in case shit goes horribly wrong, and just in case, your grocery bills go from, 250 a week to 500 a week because all of a sudden there's I mean, the amount of food that we import that we literally can't even grow here. I
Right.
mean, Jesus. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I think we're gonna feel it. People are going to start getting fucking real mad when prices go up. And all these MAGA people. I saw a video today where this fucking woman sitting in a pickup truck didn't understand how tariffs work. Like her video, she literally said that the country like pays the tariff. She literally thought that like if we import something from China, that China pays it. I'm like, no. I literally commented, I'm like, you wet bathroom rug. The fucking importing company pays the fucking tariff and they pass it on to us. For fuck's sake, how many times do we have to say this shit? God damn it. I don't know. Well, and again, I guess my last thing I'll say on this too is the added fun of what I read just before we started recording is that we will have like worldwide like the highest tariffs of any other nation. Like by a fucking country mile. Like so this is just this is kind of beyond the pale, and it's kind of starting to feel like a little bit of an economic experiment, I guess.
Right. But he's not writing anything down. He's not learning anything. So it's just an economic fuck around. Like experiment is when you write down the results and you fucking learn from it.
He has no hypothesis here. It's just kind of like
Right.
it's like when you're playing like Sim City. And you're just kind of bored, and you're like, "What if I just ripped a tornado through this cocksucker?" Huh? Like, I don't know. I want a plague of locusts because I'm bored of things being too good.
Right? These people need to know what it's like to suffer once in a while.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess we're getting too soft. So yeah. Happy Liberation Day, everyone.
Yeah. Speaking of suffering, so we have the Social Security situation happening still, right? And what is that? He's got those young programmers in there. Is that right? Those folks right out of college, if not even in college.
Yeah, dude, Big Balls or whatever his name is.
and Zach, you put in here that they're coding it on vibes, or they're vibes coding it. What does that mean?
Yeah. So what's going on? This is a fun thing, and I kind of threw this in here because I feel like it's something I can actually talk about. So
Jesus.
for context, what vibes coding is a thing that popped up, or a term that popped up a couple of years ago, where people essentially prompt an AI like a chat GPT or whatever. Now you pick your favorite one. You prompt it to write code for you. You give it your requirements, and you give it this, that, and the other thing, and you have it write code for you. Oh damn, that is Rick. That is a fucking image. God, I wish everyone could see that. That is fucking horrific.
That made my eyes
Vibes
burn.
coding is the process of prompting an AI to write code for you, and then basically just hitting copy paste. And you would refine it. You say, "Hey, uh, write me a short script that does X, Y, and Z thing." Blah blah blah. It spits it out. You go, "Oh, well, actually, I need to use this module. I need it to do this. I need it to do that," and you kind of refine it from there. That's vibes coding. That's also what most people are doing in software development at this point. I think, as far as like students go. And look, the reason this is bad, I think a lot of people don't like look at that or hear that and go, "Well, that's fine. AI is very smart." It is, but it's kind of one of those things where, look, if I said, "Hey, write me a function in the job," excuse me, in the Java language where I take in three integers and find the average, right? It's going to do that. It's going to do it 100% of the time, and it'll work 100% of the time probably. When I start saying things like, "Hey, I'm trying to design a system that takes care of every single American in the country, and it keeps track of their age and their birthday and their social security number, and it's got to track the amount of money they paid in and how much they can get paid and the dates that they get paid and the day they retired and blah blah blah, and it's got to be able to adjust for when they die and blah 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 and XYZ, and probably the million other requirements of the social security system." That's very bad. It's not going to do very well at all. um, Look, it's fine to use AI when you're programming. It's fine to use AI in software development. It does work. It's a great tool. It's helped me a bunch personally. Like, I would be lying if I said I never used it to debug code or to optimize code or whatever. Um, but if they're raw dogging this and they're like, "Look, this thing's in COBOL. I'm just gonna entirely refactor this into fucking Python, and I'm gonna use ChatGPT to do it," that's not great. And then you're also feeding ChatGPT our entire social security system, essentially, and the requirements of it and how it works in order to get it to do that. So if this is for real, it's gonna fucking break. It's just gonna break.
At what point in time, and I know this question is on people's minds, especially on the left, but I know I've asked it too on here. But at what point in time do the powers that are capable, legal systems, step in and say, "Hey, this isn't something that's sustainable. This isn't something that we can fuck around with, and this is going to impact people's livelihoods at a point where they could potentially, risk the point of death." You know what I mean? Like if this fucks up and people are relying on this thing. I mean, Christ, it already has. We know a case where it has. Someone was declared dead for Christ's sake. Dead for Christ's sake. So, at what point in time do the capable powers, like I said, can they step in and be like, "We're not doing this. You're done. You're fired. You're fired. Get out of here." You know what I mean? Like, at what point in time can that happen, or can it happen? You know what I mean?
It
Do we
should
know
have
that?
happened.
It should have happened, yeah.
Okay. So now, what's the next step for America.
Get pissed. Go out and fucking protest peacefully, of course. As soon as you get violent, Trump is going to enact the fucking martial law, and then that'll just be more of an excuse for him to be an authoritarian. So we have to do things peacefully. So he can't use that as an excuse, even though he'll try to. But that's the next step. That's what we have to do, is because Congress isn't doing their fucking job. The courts may or may not continue to block Trump, but that doesn't seem to fucking matter anymore. Like,
no, he'll ignore it.
Right. So there's no other fucking guardrails.
Do you guys know that it's been 2 months and 1 week since he's been in office?
God, it feels like it's been years. It feels like a year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you could argue that he has done a lot since he's been in office.
Well, yeah, to be fair, that he's done a lot. When he says we've done more than any other blah blah blah, that might be accurate. It's just the quality is
Right.
is leaving. Here's the thing, and here's the thing that I want anyone to understand. Like, in case we get anyone in here who is saying to themselves, "Yeah, but he's improving it. He's optimizing things. He's in there doing that." That's what Doge is there for, to increase efficiency, right? Here's the thing. When you develop very critical software systems, there is a very long, very tedious, very expensive process to go through where you strictly define requirements. And also for the FAA, he's talked about rebuilding the FAA system. That is a life critical system in a very literal sense, because airplanes could fucking fly into each other and shit. People could die. So
Like
when
they've
you
been
are
doing.
looking, well, yeah, one not too far from my goddamn house, like just the next town over, one goddamn landed like upside down in someone's house.
Yeah.
One person dead, I think. But there's a long process of defining requirements, of building these things. It's huge and tedious and very expensive, and that's why they haven't been able to do it, is because it would be billions of dollars and a ton of time. And this would have to be a cohesive effort across presidential terms in order to do it, right? It would have to be a project where everyone gets behind it and goes, yes, we need to do this, need to spend the money on it, whatever. And then, of course, like with government programs, there's always cost overruns, which isn't always the government's fault, honestly. People need to realize that. There's a problem with how jobs are bid by people that do government contracts that causes some issues, and things like that. So it's not that government is fucked that these things don't get done. It's that it's tedious and it's long and it's expensive. So yeah, I mean, you can't just pop a couple of dipshits in there from Yale and go, yeah, refactor the whole fucking thing. Write it in your favorite language. Write it in brainfuck. I don't care. Like,
right. And
go.
And not only that, meanwhile, we'll stop the current fucking system until you get it fucking rewritten, and we'll fire everyone just so we don't have any safeguards in case this doesn't work. We're gonna do it the worst fucking way possible.
Literally the worst way possible.
I just don't understand that. That's not a standard on the basic of basics level of any business process changing and any platform change ever. You don't stop anything. You just keep the trains running on time until there's an official shutdown and then transition, right? You don't just fucking say, okay, we're done. You're all gone. We're starting this new thing.
But this is what Musk does. He did the same thing with my fucking autopilot. He turned off the radar and he stopped making the cars with the radar because humans only drive with eyes. They don't have radar. It's like, but what if they did? They could see through the fucking fog and the rain and the fucking snow, and they would be better at driving if they had radar, right? No, they only drive with their eyes though, so I'm not going to put it in my cars anymore, and I'm turning yours off. And he made it worse without having a plan in place that was already better, because he just wanted to fucking strong arm his way into it. He didn't want to sound like a fucking idiot, and so he made that the way it was. That's what he does.
But he is an idiot. Like, that's just a dumb way of thinking. It's a dumb way of operating yourself. And it's incredibly inefficient. And anybody who is looking at it objectively, like, let's think 50 years from now when we can look back on this and there's a like a script almost that you can look at and be like, what the hell were they thinking? Like, that's not the right way to do this. objectively. Anybody will look at left or right or whatever you are. Nobody's going to agree with that.
No, history is not going to smile on these people.
And the historians won't be from the fucking U.S. either. We'll all be too brain dead to know what the hell happened here.
I'm
Brain drain is real, dude.
Dude, people in other countries, like historians in other countries, have to be just scribbling furiously right now.
Yeah.
You know, and the recording of history is being actively whitewashed. There's another topic that we could talk about, but I haven't put on here, or that we don't have on the outline anyway to talk about, but we should at some point. Is history is actively being whitewashed by executive order. I mean, they're basically getting rid of anything that's ever said white people did bad things in America. So we're going to ignore, like, you know, the Trail of fucking Tears and shit, like all the bad things that white people did, mostly because, let's be honest, that's what they're fucking talking about. And that's what it always points back to, is they're just going to get rid of it. It's like this American exceptionalism on steroids is what they want history to be. And that's already a problem with history, is the fact that the winner gets to write the story. So we're very fortunate to have the fact that, you know, the winners also decided to say, hey, the Confederacy was fucking trash. So, and here's kind of some of that stuff, you know, or the fact that we know a lot of Native American history, that we know, again, history from, I guess, for lack of a better term, the losing side of some of these things. And they're going to get rid of it. And all in the name of, well, we need to look at our history for what it is, right? Because that was the argument about the Confederate statues. They're like, well, you should be able to, we need to know it so we don't repeat it. And now they're fucking whitewashing every, you know, genocide that we did to make this country what it is. So they're having it both ways.
Right. Well, the thing with that too is, like, we live in 2020. Like, you can't just delete, even if he were to get rid of all of it within the country, it's still documented internationally. Like, the internet is a thing. It's on the fucking internet. It's everywhere. And so I don't understand what's the end game here, because people can find out if they want to find out, you know, unless you're gonna pull a North Korea.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And extremely but people won't have that. They just wouldn't have that here. Are you kidding? The rugged individual fucking, you know, Meal Team 6 guy, he's not gonna fucking go without his high-speed internet being able to see you whenever the hell he wants.
Yeah, he will. It'll be tailored to him. It'll
As long
be
as he
tailored
can crank
to get
it.
that boat every single time.
Dude, yeah, just deliver him fucking porn and like pictures of policemen like stepping on black people, and he'd probably just fucking be happy as a goddamn fucking pig and shit. The thing is, like, what you said was, if people want to find it, but we're gutting the Department of Education. So
Right.
people like the three of us, we're not, you know, I don't want to make us sound high and mighty here. We are curious individuals. We like to learn. We like to know things and understand things. Not everyone's like that. I've met a ton of people, nice as they may be and wonderful people as they may be, they are not intellectually curious, and they do not fucking want to dig into especially into the nuance of things. So that's where you
Right.
get people like MAGA, who you say, hey, uh, you know, like my buddy was saying, Trump used the term bad things as a vague gesture to bad things in his tariff speech like 30 fucking times earlier today. So everyone's going to sit there, and all of MAGA and all these intellectually uncurious people are going to go, yeah, okay, bad things, I get it. And then they're done. They're not going to look into any nuance of, well, what bad things might he be talking about? And then they go and they find that there are none, and they go, oh shit. If we had better education, and if people could fucking read, and if Pizza Hut would give you a pizza for it in this country, we wouldn't have MAGA. Pizza Hut fucked us. Pizza Hut gave us MAGA. Boycott Pizza Hut.
I can't
Don't
believe,
actually.
I can't believe the amount of people that are older than I am. And by older, I mean like in their 50s and 60s and things like that. But like where they grew up in a time where I feel that the education seemingly should have been better. Like things I feel now are stifled and whatnot, or at least the attempt is there. But like you'd think that they wouldn't believe in lizard people. They wouldn't believe in, you know what I mean? Like they grew up with I feel more transparency than there is now. I don't know. I mean, the internet kind of, I guess I don't know how to feel about that. But when I meet somebody who is legitimately talking to me about lizard people, I just want to stay on that for a hot second here. But like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And then And then it's easy for that line to be drawn with whatever Donnie T says. It's like, well, yeah, that person's naturally going to believe whatever he says. And then again, bad things is subjective. What's bad to Donald Trump, what's bad to him and his administration might not be bad to the American people. What does that mean? Like you said, Zach. And then what are the type of people voting for that? It's people that believe in lizards and shit. And I know a lot, unfortunately, that do and that have voted for that man. So where are we at? What are we doing? Who taught them? Where are they from?
Are they the lizards?
Like, what's going on here?
They're the fucking lizard people, dude. It was always them.
Every accusation's a confession, goddammit.
Right. Just you gotta watch their eyelids and see if they have eyelids that close hot dog style instead of hamburger style. Because like lizards have the extra hot dog style eyelids.
Right? They do both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like in Men in Black when like Will Smith looks in that guy's eyes and he like blinks 2 sets of eyelids and he goes, "Oh, what the fuck?" and he chases him down.
Yeah.
Anyway, classic banger of a movie.
Yeah,
that's deleted now because that was a black guy.
Yeah, we can't have that.
It's Men in White.
Actually, men. Yeah, it's just Men in right now.
just men. Men.
Yeah. All right. Well, sorry for that little side tangent there, but I just feel like those two things are related, but I'm still trying to find the link. But yeah, I don't know. We're cooked.
We're cooked, chat.
And you guys take it from here.
We are cooked. I don't know. I mean, I think Rick was honestly the first one to sort of pose the question in our individual chat, our chat where it's full of happiness and memes and shit.
Yeah.
No, actually, yeah, you were the one that posted that we are at risk of losing our status of a democratic state. Yeah, I don't know if analog Rick, if you read any deeper, have any deep thoughts on that one. Aside from it's bad, I think that's kind of a given.
Right. Yeah, I mean, basically, I found an article from it says a global watchdog says the U.S. could lose its democracy status if it continues on the path it's been on with Trump and all of his bullshit that he's trying to do. It says if it continues like this, democracy there will not last another 6 months.
Damn.
And I fucking kind of believe that because we're going at a breakneck pace. Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
it's been 2
6
months.
months is fucking. Yeah, 6 months is plenty of time now. Fuck.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
What blows my mind is like we're supposed to be of like the entire planet. We were the ones. We were the country that made democracy work. Like we were supposed to be the example of like this is fucking democracy. Like what's a kilometer? And now now we're gonna lose it. Or now we're at risk of like not having that. Like we were the ones that we were the ones. It blows my mind that like all these people and all these MAGA people don't see the slow creep. Like all these fucking well, I read the Constitution. No, you don't. You can't read. Like don't see the creep away from democracy because they love it. Like right now, they love it when women's votes get suppressed. Like they don't give a shit about that. Anything to suppress like a liberal voter, potential liberal vote. They don't give a shit about that. I mean, and with some of these people, the leopard is going to have to eat their face. Eric, you say it all the time. They don't care until it happens to them, till they have a gay nephew or till, they get fired from their job at the federal government, right. So it's just, but it's wild that they can't look around and see that slow creep happening because it's pretty obvious. It's out there.
I want to just talk about something that I've seen happen to a person that they experienced something that they typically don't experience, and they actually cared when it happened to them. You know what I mean? Like the gay nephew thing or whatever. But so this person went into a bar. It was like a gay bar, right? And they were a Republican, straight white person. It was a woman, and they recorded their experience. And the bartender said, "Get the fuck out of here." Because they were like, who did you vote for? And the person was like, Trump. And then
she was wearing her hat.
Oh yeah, maybe that was it. Okay, so yeah. Yeah, Rick, you saw us, and they were like, and everybody in the bar was like, "Get the hell out of here!" And the person was like, "You're discriminating against me," and they all fucking laughed in her face. And they're like, "You're kidding me, right? You're being discriminated against right now in this moment in 2025 in fucking March because it was the St. Patrick's Day thing or whatever." So it was like they had the fucking balls to walk into that kind of bar and say they're being discriminated against when Trump is trying to take the identity away from people that are identifying as transgender and things like that.
Absolutely heinous behavior. God, the entitlement and the lack of self-awareness. Like how good must it feel to not drag those heavy chains of self-awareness around with you? Like I just sometimes wish that I could just like huff a bunch of paint and be as dumb as some of these fucking people so that I can just live in a dream world. Fuck,
Yeah,
it looks
man.
so easy.
She didn't get it, by the way. Like, she didn't learn her lesson or anything after that.
No.
Oh my God.
She just kept on going, thinking she's right, like a pigeon playing fucking chess.
I just
Push all
don't
the
think they
pieces over and
realize
shit
what
on the board.
like they're not interested in asking what these actions do. Like they like I think the misconception is that like when, for example, like gay people or I guess trans people are the hot thing. So when trans people go out and ask for equal rights, or I guess also whatever, like any LGBT people, because there's a big thing with gay marriage. Like I think a lot of people that are not intellectually curious and have never spoken to a gay person, when that was going on, they look at that movement of trying to gain gay rights as they're trying to gain more rights than me. And I've literally explained it to a coworker before, because he said, "Well, they're trying to get more rights. I don't want them to have more rights than me." And I was like, "Listen, dude, they don't. They're trying to get the same thing you and I have. They're trying to get the ability to be married." And I explained to him, I'm like, look, even when they were married, there was a period where they couldn't be on the same insurance despite the fact they were married, even though like me and my wife legally can be on the same insurance and shit. But that was
Right.
illegal for same-sex couples. And that's just one example. These people just think, well, they want more than me, but that's not true. But they're also not going to talk to these people and realize that that's not true. I mean, that's well, and on the LGBT thing, Rick, your sharing of this article here like triggered some stuff that I had read earlier in the week, and I think it was just earlier, yeah, it was about a week ago that LGBT groups were removed from human rights abuse reporting. So we're not going to report abuses done to LGBT people anymore as part of our human rights report. To fuck, who do we report it to? I'll find it. But all that to say, again, that these people now have to fight to have their rights back, and we're not going to track whether or not they're being like murdered at a higher rate or whether or not the government is doing bad shit to them at a higher rate than anyone else. So that's, you know, not great.
Yeah.
It's not great. I mean, well, and again, the other thing, like shortly after, I think Elon's Nazi salute, the Lemkin Institute threw up a red flag that we could be a country that's a candidate to commit genocide. And I'll give you three guesses as to who we're probably going to genocide if that happens.
Yeah.
So when we say Nazi shit, we mean Nazi shit.
That sort of reminded me something of quick too, that I saw. Somebody posted a video that they were talking with their friend in Greenland, and Greenland is handing out like pre-war preparation,
Mm.
fucking digital pamphlets or whatever the hell.
Yeah, I've heard also like in Europe, like the whole EU, I think, is doing a similar thing.
That is unnerving.
I mean, well, on the heels of Trump saying that like he'll do what it takes and he hasn't ruled out military action against Denmark or Greenland, like him even suggesting that, I mean, I know it's what he does is just kind of says stuff, but like that is not a fucking can you want to open. Like military action against an ally, like to even suggest that is absolutely heinous.
Right. Because the rest of NATO is still intact. I don't think Trump understands that either. Like,
Right.
if one of NATO attacks the other part of NATO, everyone else responds to the attacker.
Well, and he's talked about leaving NATO over and over because we're treated
Right.
so badly. We blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? So, especially if we are no longer a part of it and we attack, that is a recipe for fucking disaster.
Right.
I can't believe it, dude. This is just unfucking believable that these are real conversations that we're having, and they're not that far stretched. Like I don't feel like we're crazy for having these conversations. You know what I mean? Like these are real concerns that countries are having. Like you said, Rick, they're passing out these things, and Zach, you said the EU is, and it's like, what are we doing? We're America. Like, this is almost heartbreaking. Like, we're this is episode 3, and we're Anakin. We're turned to the dark side. Like, what's going
It
on
literally,
here?
that's actually very accurate feeling. Yeah. You're supposed to be like, Anakin, he's a good guy. Look how cute. Oh shit, he's Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for anyone who has.
yeah. And now we got 3 more fucking episodes to find out what will happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do we have a son? Will we throw that old dude over the fucking thing? Like, what's going to happen?
We're gonna cut our son's hand off.
Are we going to die at
Metaphor's
the end of our
falling apart.
redemption arc?
Yeah, and I bet we will. I bet we will. I don't know. But what will happen? This happened before in a war. I can't remember what war it was, but where Russia had a similar thing happen, where Russia invaded a country, and their countrymen weren't for it. And maybe it wasn't Russia, but I'm thinking of it. And their capital was St. Petersburg at the time. And at the time, they were dealing with a civil war. And they were invading another country. So they had half their military over here and half their military defending St. Petersburg because, like, militias and things like that were trying to go after the capital. Again, civil war was happening. So their country was divided, and they were invading another country. And so basically they had to pull their troops off the front line of the country they're invading and defend their homeland against their own countrymen. And they had to solve that dispute. But at the same time, the country they invaded started invading their own country because they're like, well, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like, you guys were invading. We're not just going to stop this war because you guys are doing it with your own shit. It's like when your ex comes back and you got a girlfriend, now you're in a situation. You know what I mean? So
Fighting on 2 fronts.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you guys know what we're referring to, but I can't think of the war. I know it was a thing though.
I can't.
But that sounds like something that could potentially happen because we're not gonna, like, people in America aren't gonna be for a war unless you're fucking,
especially with our ally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And then like do you seek asylum in like Canada? Like who's to know that they're willing to take us? Like at what point in time does this?
I don't know if they will. I mean, I've legitimately thought about that too, where it's like, okay, like, look, as much as I would love to like play badass, I am a sick person. I need a stable environment, and I realize that like my job is not to be around to do violence or to be around violence because the instability of that is bad. But I've legitimately thought like, well, do I have to legitimately like claim asylum as some sort of like medical refugee from a country that, but also, I mean, I don't think Trump has ruled out military action against Canada. Like, he's kind of said that because he wants them to be the 51st state, even though we don't need anything from them allegedly, which
Right.
doesn't add up. But I mean, the thing is, like, even if you leave out, all the stuff from overseas, right? Let's pretend all that pamphlet shit isn't real. Even if you leave that out, our president in the country that we live in right now, that we are all sitting in, has said he could potentially attack an ally and start a war in order to gain that territory. So we're not talking about like some little, like, I mean, the war on terror was fucking obviously really bad, but that's kind of it's over there. It's like, you can argue obviously that it was about like, Americans, or like America spreading more America, but this is in a very literal sense us trying to expand our territory, and I feel like it would be a very different type of war. And I do also worry that, I mean, again, like, sure, Fox News will say it's justified. They've already kind of lined that up. All of the MAGA people are going to love this shit, but
Yeah.
they're not the majority. I don't think that almost anyone else would look at that and say, yeah, we should go after Denmark, or we should go fucking just take Greenland. I just don't think anyone would be on board with that. And I don't know what that looks like in terms of, I mean, it's going to be another Vietnam thing where there's going to be a ton of people that you're going to see some violent protests then. I mean, that's going to
Right.
get bad, I can imagine, because they're going to want to suppress those voices so much. Like, the government will want to suppress those voices some way.
Yeah, I think the vast majority of Americans don't want that, and our heart won't be in it. Like, if we try and take through military force an ally's territory, we will lose, right? It'll be just like Ukraine versus Russia. Like, Ukraine has been putting up a hell of a fucking fight against a much bigger, much on paper, much more capable adversary, and because they want to defend their country, their heart is in it. We're just being the asshole now. Like, even the people fighting won't feel good about it. What are we fighting for? We're not fighting for freedom. We're fighting to fucking take other countries fucking away from them, their sovereignty. That's not a fight anyone wants to fucking have. Any noble fucking person who claims to be fucking righteous or whatever, even on the right, can't say in good faith that they want this.
So yeah,
So
no,
we will
that'll go
lose.
forward.
We will lose the fucking war, and we will be worse off for it in the long run because once it's all said and done, we'll lose and we'll get fucking our pee slapped just like Germany had happen to them after World War II, and we'll be basically losing our fucking our status as the dollar will be destroyed, the value of the dollar, all of that is gone.
Now, I know so if that were to happen and there was an active war happening, the president does have an opportunity to declare like emergency powers, right? And then extend their term, correct?
I believe. I mean, I don't think it's ever been done necessarily, has it? I mean, that I know that's a thing that does happen, and it probably can happen. I mean, shit, Zelensky is still in power in Ukraine, partially because they were just like, hey, not the time for elections. Um, I imagine that is a thing that could be done here, but honestly, I'm not sure because I never considered it.
I know, Rick, are you looking that up?
Yeah.
Okay, so if that was the case, do you think that Trump would intentionally do this and then extend his term? Like I said, if that is the case, would he do that to extend his term to be president for as long as he could, and then use the war as an excuse to take Greenland?
Unequivocally, yes. I would bet everything I own. I would bet my cats, my dog. I would bet my own dick on it that he will do anything he can to extend this term. I mean, he's talked about recently, he said it on an airplane to someone that he's looking at ways to get a third term because, technically this is his third term, but he doesn't want to take credit for 2020 because that was so bad. It was run so horribly. So blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people want him to run again. That's not true. So dude, if there's a door like this that if there's a card he can play where if we're at war, he just goes, no elections, he'll play it. And I think that if there was a situation where he could do it during the midterms and say, no elections, we're at war, everything's too hectic, we can't hold these elections, I think he'll do that too. Because while it's really far out from midterms and we probably shouldn't even be bringing it up, I would still bet a fair amount of money that a lot of seats are going to get flipped. I mean, it's the reason I can't remember her name. I should have put it in here. One of their nominees for a position was retracted because of the election that would be would have to happen to take her seat in her district. I think she was a representative, and they're afraid that that seat would get flipped blue, which would shrink their majority by one more seat. So they're worried. They know that this shit's going to go awry for them, I think, in midterms, unless they get their shit together. So I think even at midterms, he would be willing to do that if that's a possible move.
I'm not seeing anything that they can delay or postpone an election.
I would
I could be
imagine
missing it.
it would have to be like the speaker. It couldn't be the president to declare it, right? It would have
I
to be
would
the
fucking
cronies.
hope so.
It would have to be the cronies, like
Which
the
they would be willing to do it though if it's a possibility. That's the thing. I
exactly.
think that might be a homework assignment because I'm very curious. But regardless, maybe it's a slippery slope thing. But he hasn't listened to the goddamn courts so far. So maybe he just does it and says, "Who's going to stop me?" I mean, look at all the shit that he's pulled off, and judges have straight up said you can't do this, and they went, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, that would be fucking scary. Just starting wars and being like, I'm president forever until I die, and then it's just going to be my administration, and then basically just be at war forever. And then
Yeah.
meanwhile, our country's in poverty, and then
And we have the most boring, awful, like ugly dictator. Like just do they have to be so painfully average? Like god damn it. Like they're not smart. They're not attractive in any way. They're not good at like we've seen clips of Trump golfing. Like I don't play golf and I would smoke that dude. And that's all he fucking does because he's just such a fucking degenerate bag of recessive fucking genes that he can't do anything even remotely athletic. He's designed to sit his fat ass in a recliner and just fucking be painfully average. but
You
instead
know,
he's got to be in charge of the whole country because some people think he's tough. I don't.
it really affected his drive when he had to start wearing those Depends.
Yeah, the diaper's got to get in the way, you know. The
It
follow
chafed,
through's
you
got to
know.
be, yeah, yeah.
Ugh.
God, especially in that heat, man. In that heat, he's got to have a mad
Yeah.
diaper rash.
If you're golfing with him and you're on the third hole and he just fucking shits himself, you gotta sit there
You,
and smell that the rest of the game.
you just
There
see
you
him kind
go.
of like pause and lock up like a toddler. Like you know when a kid is like like just standing there and you know they're shitting because they're just locked in. He just like fucking hits a little putt and then just like locks in for a solid like 2 minutes, and you're like, Donald. And he's like, no, wait,
His face
hang
turns red.
on. Yeah, he's just like shaking. Like Donald, are you? No, no. I just need a minute.
It
Out of
was
there,
you.
okay.
It was you. You shit
I'm
my
gonna
pants.
do it.
You shit my pants. Everyone saw you do it.
I'm
Now you're
gonna
under
do
arrest.
it.
Yeah. Jeff
I did
Bezos
it.
came. So did I.
Ugh. Yeah. No.
Disgusting.
Okay. Well, speaking of Donald Dumps, I think let's talk about some positive things, huh, fellas?
And on a high
Okay.
note, let's fucking
Let's
land this plane.
yeah. Let's talk about Elon being a fucking failure in Wisconsin, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's do it. You're up, Rick.
So Elon spent $25 million thereabouts on the justice election for the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and he lost. Susan Crawford won. She won by 10 points, and that was being talked about as a litmus test for how people feel about Trump's presidency so far. And even with Elon putting his thumb on the fucking scale, he couldn't buy that seat, and that was fucking good news.
And let's mention, I mean, don't forget, he went there, did a town hall the day before the election, and handed out two $1 million checks to voters.
Yeah,
Uh, now, I mean, with the legality of which, if it's a gift to have them vote, Wisconsin law very plainly says that that is illegal. He was
right.
going to hand out $100 checks to anyone who could prove they voted in the election, and that was quickly struck down by a judge. But the legality of those $1 million checks is very much in question. And so he did something potentially extremely illegal, and they still got their asses handed to them. Uh, which, dude, I saw a clip of her opponent, Brad Schimmel, I think is the last name, how you say it. And this dude was bragging about like lawyering his 8-year-old daughter so bad that she cried. He was
Yeah, I
bragging
heard
about it.
that.
Yeah, so he intellectually beat the shit out of an 8-year-old. Congratulations. Is that
Yeah,
supposed to be impressive? Like,
she's
not
gonna
only is
talk
it
to you a whole
cruel.
bunch when she's an adult.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean that's a one-way ticket to your children never communicating with you again. And again, I'm not impressed because it's cruel, and I'm also not impressed because like dude, I could bully a fucking 8-year-old intellectually too if I wanted to. It's not hard. I'm a 34-year-old man and that dude's like in his fucking 50s. Of course you know more than an 8-year-old. Fucking degenerate.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know
yeah.
why I need to tell you this. You're not on the same level,
You're supposed to not be. I mean,
right?
if he's debating with an 8-year-old and he thinks he's at risk of losing, maybe you don't want him on the Supreme Court.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that was extremely good news. That was a good flip. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, hopefully that is I hope that's the type of momentum we keep seeing with any more special elections. I don't think there are any more that I know of. But I hope that carries on into midterms. I hope when we start talking about midterms, I hope it is shit like this, where it's good news.
we need it, man. We got to flip some fucking seats, and
Right.
at least Wisconsin will be a little more fair now. I feel won't
Hopefully.
be, you know. And did you see that in Elon's fucking that town hall he was at? He said it was inevitable that some of the Soros operatives would make it through the gates or
Mm.
whatever. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you are worth hundreds of times more billions dollars than Soros. Soros is worth like $7 billion.
Yeah, he's worth like, and Elon's worth like 400, like
Right.
orders of magnitude more money than George Soros. And he was
Yeah.
there to give money to people to vote.
Yeah.
Like he was
You
there
were
to
the
do the
Soros.
thing.
That's
Yeah, he was there
you.
to do the thing. God, again, to not have to carry the heavy chains of self-awareness just must be so liberating.
Oh my God. That's just like he doesn't see it. And I can't understand that. It's smacking him in the fucking cheese hat.
Well, this after the whole empathy fiasco, they're
Yeah.
being so mean to me after he said empathy. Come on, man. Yeah, his lack of self-awareness is like, if there is like one thing, he talked about having like a level 99 goddamn, whatever, Path of Exile character and all shit. If there's one thing of his, if he put all of his points into one stat, it's like the stat that lacks self-awareness. Like that is the one thing he has mastered in his life, is being like completely absent of his own ability to see what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's good news number one.
Yeah.
Did any of you guys watch good news number two?
I did not.
You check that out? Okay. So Cory Booker stood on the floor of Congress, or stood floor, I guess, Senate floor, whatever you want to call it, and spoke almost nonstop for 25 hours and like 18 minutes, breaking the record for the longest speech that was given in the Senate. I watched chunks of it because so I know he started at like 7 p.m. on like the 31st, I think, March 31st. So a couple days ago as we're recording. And he started and he said he was going to speak as long as he was able to. And I was like, all right, whatever. It'll be a news story. I'll check it out. But next morning I open it up. I open up my stuff. I'm scrolling through everything. And all of a sudden I'm seeing headlines, dude. Cory Booker, still talking, still talking, still talking. No shit. So I tuned in for part of it, kind of at about the 12 or 13-hour mark. And man, he was still going. One of Minnesota's own, Amy Klobuchar, was there. So, um, yeah, 25 hours talking. He read letters from constituents. He read like read I think some of it was like honestly like poetry and shit. He read like activist type stuff. He read quotes and comments from like other senators and things like that. And I assume some of it was just him talking about maybe kind of nothing, to fill space. But he had a whole binder full of shit to talk about. And dude, like that dude was as excited at like, at the beginning that I saw as at 13 hours, and I saw clips of him at 20 hours, and that dude was like fucking on fire, man. He was still going strong.
Yeah.
And then I didn't catch the end of it. I tuned in like later that evening after he had stopped. But dude, it was cool because two things I thought were cool about this. One, someone's trying to do something. I don't know if this is going to amount to anything, honestly, other than like, yeah, he disrupted the flow of the Senate for a day. I don't know, like, I don't think any MAGA people are going to watch it and be turned by his, like, it was a very passionate speaking. Like, everything I saw was incredibly passionate. Very, very well spoken dude. Very smart. But one of the games that I thought was kind of fun that they played was, in order to give Cory Booker a break, a lot of there were some Democratic senators in there that would ask him a question, and he can yield for a question without giving up the floor.
Yeah.
And so to give him a break, there would be a few Democratic senators that would just they would ask him a question, but it'd be a very like long-winded, like 5 minute long question. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he would answer it and keep going and going and going. And then they'd be like, would you yield for a question? Yep. Um, so that was kind of an interesting thing. Yeah, I mean, I think it's good news because he's not going to stand up there for 25 hours for nothing. And I think it shows that he's ready to fight. And
Yeah.
hopefully, this is just the first thing he tries. And hopefully, it empowers more Democrats to try and stand up and do something. Not that everyone has to stand up and speak for 25 hours without eating or going to the bathroom like he did, because he's clearly a lunatic. But yeah, I hope it inspires some action, is kind of my
Yeah.
hope.
I also think it's cool that, he broke the record that was held by Strom Thurmond,
Mm,
who gave the
mhm.
speech, who was against the Civil Rights Act in 1957. So that's why he was doing it. And then to be, superseded by Cory Booker, who's a black senator,
Yep.
to beat that record is kind of like a extra little fuck you to
Yeah.
people like that.
That's a good one to erase. Like that's a good record to beat to kind of erase it and be like, no, I did this for the good of the country, type of thing. I think it's good.
It's almost poetic that it was
Yeah,
Yeah.
that he black and everything. That's
A
really
little
cool.
I feel like that had to be in the back of his head. I feel like I mean, he beat it by a goddamn mile, but I feel like as he was closing in on that 24-hour mark, that had to have been a thing in the back of his mind somewhere, just like, I just a little bit more, man, just a little bit more. Like, let's just push a little harder, just to beat that, just to get rid of that. And then he blew it out of the water by like an
yeah,
hour. So
He crushed it, and then his final words too were just still like inspiring too. You know what I mean? Like
hmm
he nailed the ending, nailed the landing. Let's just say that.
oh yeah,
So
no, it was. I did see the clip where, oh god damn it, I'm losing steam, guys. But where he he's told that he broke the record and he gets kind of emotional and he kind of sticks that landing and dude, yeah, to be that passionate after that long, like god damn, I don't think I'm a pretty like high energy dude a lot of the time, like when I get excited about something, but dude, to be excited for 25 hours straight, like I don't know, man. That's rough. You
yeah,
might need a fucking like a granola bar or something in there somewhere to keep rolling.
yeah, I read that he like days before or a day before or whatever he fasted and then he stopped drinking and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
a day before or something like that, so he wouldn't have to go to the bathroom. I don't know if you
Yep.
guys already said that or not, but
No, yeah, I did read a similar thing where he's like, "No, I'm gonna kind of empty the system out because yeah, you can't leave the floor to do anything."
yeah,
So, your other option is just piss yourself, I guess, which also sounds awful.
yeah,
Might have taken away from the effect of it all if his pants were just covered in piss.
yeah,
probably, yeah. But yeah, so that's some good news. But we also have some more insane shit to mention. Zach's specialty.
Yeah.
So we're going to throw that in
God.
there for you guys to check out in the description that we're going to add at the end of the podcast. So first of all, Texas adds all persons to gender affirming care bill and adds vasectomies and hysterectomies to the list. So
Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah, the link that will be there is to the actual bill. You'll have to read through it a little bit. It'll show some of the changes that have been made. But yeah, the gender affirming care thing used to say just children. It's now going to include all people. And if you read the verbiage in there, there is potential that they could restrict the ability to get vasectomies and hysterectomies. Adding vasectomy is an interesting take for me because that restricts a male's ability to reproduce. And it's kind of weird. Like they have generally stayed away from dudes' reproductive rights. So that's an interesting one. Definitely thing to watch, in my opinion.
Number two is ICE is acting like the Gestapo from Nazi Germany. So something that we probably all could. We saw that beforehand, and now it's just being enacted. But yeah, they certainly are, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
I
oh
think we'll have
yeah,
to talk more in detail about some of those cases because some of those are incredibly fucked. But yeah, two examples. I found two pretty spicy examples that I don't like.
yeah,
yep,
Christy Nome name
Yeah.
Nome.
Gnome. Yeah.
D-
Christy Gnome.
the DHS secretary visits the CECOT, films a disgusting video wearing a $50,000 watch. So what
Yeah.
is the CECOT, Zach?
So CCOT is the prison in El Salvador that we're sending everyone to. All these
Okay.
quote unquote illegal gang member immigrants, whatever, right? Um, so it's a very, very bad prison. I don't know. I think we'll have to at some point like do a little bit of a dive on it, just so everyone can have some context. 'Cause I think not everyone realize how bad this prison is. Basically, big like it's very tightly packed. It's known for human rights abuses. It's a horrible place. And so Christy Nome, uh, the person who admitted to shooting her dog in her own book because she didn't know how to raise it and killed her family's puppy, flew down there wearing a watch worth the price of a fucking Mercedes and filmed a video in front of a bunch of prisoners that were wearing no shirts, basically trying to say, hey, don't come to America. We're going to send you here. Um, and again, for context, It's the same place that we just, because of an administrative error, accidentally send some random guy from Maryland and now, quote unquote, cannot get back. Yeah, disgusting video. It's super fucking gross. And yeah, I think we'll have to deep dive into CCOT a little bit at some point. Because I feel like people don't realize how bad it is. They just don't know. So yeah,
Sure.
gross video. It's gross.
And then finally here, Texas proposed a bill that would make identifying as transgender a felony. Fantastic.
Yeah. Last one on our lightning round there. I think what they're doing is they're framing it as some sort of fraud, basically. So if you openly identify as trans, you're committing like some form of identification fraud, I think is what they're framing it as. But yeah, I mean, that I think it speaks for itself. I don't know. Being trans should not be a felony. That can also take away voting rights. I think in a lot of places, I assume Texas probably doesn't let felons vote. So voter suppression as a bonus for that one, probably.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's it. I think we've reached closing arguments and things like that, so we don't need to do that this time around. But before we leave, just as an inspiration, be a Cory Booker if you want to be something, and don't be a Donald Trump. But that's all we have for you guys today. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.